All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to look at something pretty incredible. How life, especially people, manages to thrive in some of the most extreme places on Earth. We're talking everything from scorching hot deserts to soaking wet rainforests. It's a fascinating story about clever adaptation, and it all boils down to one thing: resources. So, let's kick things off with a little puzzle. Have you ever seen a house in a rainforest, maybe in a picture or a movie, and noticed it's up on stilts with a really steep roof? Well, that's not just a style choice. It's actually a brilliant piece of engineering that comes straight from the environment itself. And the answer is pretty simple: rain. And not just a little drizzle, but a ton of rain. Whether you're in the Amazon or in India's Konkan region, you're dealing with heavy downpours all the time. So those sloping roofs, they're designed to get all that water off and away from the house as fast as possible. It's such a simple, elegant solution for staying dry. But adaptation is definitely not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. Just look at these two deserts. You've got the Sahara, the biggest hot desert in the world, where it gets unbelievably hot. And then you have Ladakh, high up in the Himalayas, a cold desert with brutally freezing winters. The life that exists in each place, camels versus yaks, cacti versus willow trees, it's all perfectly tailored to that specific extreme. It's just amazing how life finds a way, isn't it? And you see this pattern, well, everywhere. Every single environment on the planet presents its own unique set of challenges, but also it offers unique opportunities for the life that's clever enough to figure them out. So, what do you do if you live on the side of a steep mountain? You can't just plant a field of corn on a 45-degree slope, right? Well, humans came up with an ingenious solution: terrace farming. By literally carving steps into the mountainside, people create flat land to grow their food. And get this, it also stops the precious soil from washing away in the rain. It's a total game changer, turning a huge challenge into a real opportunity. All these examples, the houses, the farming, the different animals, they all share one common thread. They're all about using what's available in the environment. And that brings us right to our central question: what exactly is a resource? At its heart, the definition is super simple. A resource is basically anything that we find useful, anything that helps satisfy one of our needs. It could be something physical, like a piece of wood for building, or it could be something you can't even touch, like the warmth you get from the sun. So for anything to actually be considered a resource, it's got to have two things going for it: utility and value. Utility just means it has a purpose. It can be used for something. And value? Well, that doesn't just mean money. A t-shirt has economic value, sure. But a beautiful mountain landscape, it has value too, just a different kind. Both of them are resources because they meet a human need. Now, natural resources pretty much fall into two main buckets. You've got your renewable ones like sunlight, wind, water, stuff that naturally replenishes itself. And then you have the non-renewable ones like coal and oil. And here's the kicker: once they're gone, they are gone for good. That distinction is absolutely crucial, because it means how we manage them matters a lot. But here's the thing: we don't just use natural resources as they are. We get creative. We transform them into what we call human-made resources. I mean, think about it. Iron ore is really just a type of rock. But we figured out how to pull the iron out of it and make everything from tools to bridges. In a way, our own ingenuity is one of our most powerful resources. Okay, so all of this human activity, all this cleverness, it all rests on a fundamental planetary foundation. And that foundation is made up of three critical resources: land, soil, and water. So let's break down why these three are just the absolute bedrock of everything. Land seems pretty basic, right? But it actually plays three huge roles for us. First, it's the physical space where we build our homes and cities. Second, it's our global farm where we grow all our food. And third, it's like a giant quarry, giving us the rocks and minerals we need to build our world. And on top of that land is soil, a resource we totally take for granted. But making it is this incredibly complex dance between five different things: the original rock, the climate, the shape of the land, living organisms, and just a whole lot of time. And I mean a lot of time. It can take hundreds of years to form a single inch of good topsoil. That's just mind-blowing. And finally, water. Now, when we think of using water, we usually think about drinking it or taking a shower. But look at this. That's actually just a tiny slice of the pie. A whopping 40% of our water is used for agriculture, for growing food, and another 25% goes to industry. Water doesn't just keep us alive, it powers our entire civilization. So, we have this amazing foundation of resources that makes everything else possible. But here's the problem. As our population grows and our demand for stuff grows, we're putting that foundation under some serious pressure. And our activities are having major consequences. Take something like land degradation. It's like a chain reaction. It starts when we clear forests or mine for minerals to meet our needs. But after we've taken what we want, the land is often just left barren and empty. And that barren land can no longer support life. Not plants, not animals, not us. It becomes a dead zone where a whole ecosystem used to be. And kind of looming over all of this is the biggest threat of them all: climate change. We're talking about the long-term shifts in global temperature and weather patterns, and they're being driven mostly by what we humans are doing. So what does that actually look like? Well, first up, things are getting hotter. The planet's average temperature is rising. And this isn't just about slightly warmer summers. It means more frequent and much more intense heat waves, which in turn lead to devastating droughts and wildfires. Second, our weather is getting, well, weird and more dangerous. Weather patterns are being thrown off balance. This means we're seeing more extremes, more powerful storms and cyclones, more catastrophic flooding in some places, and longer, more severe droughts in others. And third, as the world's glaciers and ice caps melt at an alarming rate, all that water has to go somewhere. It flows right into our oceans. This is causing sea levels to rise, which is a direct threat to coastal cities and communities all around the globe. Okay, so that picture might seem a little grim, but here's the thing. It is not hopeless. Not at all. The answer, the solution, lies in conservation, in being smarter and more thoughtful about how we use our resources. And this can happen on every level, from big international projects all the way down to our own daily habits. On a big picture level, things like smarter farming can make a massive difference. Simple techniques like mulching can help the soil hold on to precious water. Planting rows of trees as shelter belts can stop the wind from blowing away good soil. It's all about working with nature, not against it, to protect these vital resources. So what about you and me? What can we actually do every day? It can feel a little overwhelming, but there's a really simple way to think about it: the 4 Rs. It's about a shift in mindset. First, refuse what you don't actually need, like a plastic straw. Then, reduce the amount of stuff you use overall. Find ways to reuse things you already have. And finally, get creative and repurpose old items for new uses. It might seem small, but when millions of us make these choices, that's when you see real, powerful change. Which really brings us back to where we started: adaptation. The planet is a master of adapting to change, but it does so over thousands, even millions of years. The changes that we're causing are happening in the blink of an eye, geologically speaking. So the ultimate question really is, can we use our species' greatest resource, our own ingenuity, to adapt our behavior in time,